Good morning, everyone. This is Annie Osley, your musical financial doctor, and I'm absolutely excited today to introduce you my guest, Miss Haley Petrie. Haley, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, love. How are you today?
Fabulous, fabulous. You know what? Let me tell you about Haley in a brief, introduction, and after that, I can't wait for her to share her story with you. So Haley is your true happiness coach and marriage mentor. She has been awarded as the world's best marriage mentor because she can help couples heal in 90 days or less. Not only that, but she has spoken for over 1 million audience members all around the world. Get this, 136 countries. She's also an award-winning author of multiple best-selling books and many, many more. And she's also a mom of three amazing, adorable little boys. Haley, why don't you share your story and where all this started?
Thank you so much, Annie. It's such a pleasure to be with you today. You do amazing work as the financial doctor. And while I'm not the financial doctor, I sometimes feel like the love doctor or the happiness doctor. My journey here really comes honestly from going through the same pains that my clients are now going through and solving them with very unique methods that I now help the world with. So I work as a happiness coach because I have personally experienced many forms of unhappiness, such as depression, such as two childhood suicide attempts, and a very violent attack that led to cervical cancer and multiple reproductive and reconstructive surgeries. I also went through a very messy divorce, became a single mom in my 20s, and I had to rebuild me before I could rebuild love and family in my 30s. Today, as a happily married mom of three, I love to share my best practices, tips, and methods so happiness can be yours, but also healthy relationships. Why I love to help couples thrive is I grew up in a home where there were many bumps in that marriage. I was the wife in a bumpy marriage, and now that I finally have a happy marriage, I want to share the steps on how with every other couple that wants happiness for themselves.
That's amazing, Haley. I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for sharing, this journey and being vulnerable, sharing all these things that you and bumps that you had to go through pretty much from childhood all the way till you really found the solution first for yourself and then for others. So, why don't you tell us first about the coaching? I'd like to really understand the coaching because it's so unique what you're doing. You're doing a lot of interesting things, right? But why do you really focus on happiness and the relationship as a coaching, and what makes you unique in that industry?
Thanks, Annie. I feel that there are many wonderful life coaches and mental health practitioners out there in the world, whether they're covered by insurance or benefits or private practice. There are many general specialists. The reason I specifically focus on happiness is there are actually 12 things that comprise our personal happiness. And in a relationship, there are 16 aspects that compose a happy, healthy relationship. When I work with individuals and couples, we actually plan a 90-day program where you will start on one day and actually graduate not needing further care. This is different than the traditional therapy model where you might come weekly for quite an extended period of time. Coaching is really about helping you find the answers that are already within you. When I'm acting as a consultant, it's giving you the answer you want right now that you don't have within you. When I'm acting as a mentor, it's showing you how to do something I have personally already done and walking you authentically on exactly the steps it takes to get there. And being a counselor is when I am listening to you and giving you that space, a safe space to share your story, your struggle, your pain, and then champion you to your goals. So in my method, Annie, what I do differently, I grant my clients unlimited urgent text support in between every one of their sessions. So they never have to wait till their next appointment and struggle. We can get them some relief and some support right away. And in 90 days, I love to help couples renew their vows and begin a brand new relationship to the same person.
That's absolutely amazing. Like this sounds almost like a fairy tale. So why don't you, give us an example if you don't mind, so that our listeners are truly understanding where the magic is happening. Why don't you give us an example, please, of a couple who were, let's say, on the verge of a divorce, but then working with you. they refound their happiness, and just as you said, they just revisited their vows again.
Well, my body has goosebumps head to toe when I think about this particular couple. They are so near and dear to my heart, not only because they're amazing people, but in fact, they are the worst case I had ever treated. And the way that this couple turned around their marriage gives all of us hope that no matter how much disconnect we are in right now, if both partners choose to do the work and make the marriage whole again, you can. So I'm going to change their names, and we will use Mary and Grant as their names. They have 3 children, they have grandchildren, and they've been married for 37 years.
Wow.
10 of those years, they had no sex and no touch. But 8 of those years, the husband had an affair. Can you imagine a decade without touch and connection with your partner? Can you imagine as the wife not knowing that for 8 years he was with somebody else? When they came to me, they were in rough shape. She was devastated, absolutely. What we did for this couple was we looked back throughout their whole timeline, their childhood, what their belief programs were, what their self-worth programs were. And when we were able to help each of them heal their individual wounds, we then were able to go into the marriage and heal why the infidelity happened in the first place. Neither one of them were made wrong. Both of them were treated as wonderful individuals who were suffering in their own ways. Within 2 sessions, Annie, this couple made love again for the first time after 10 years. They started to fall in love again, and after their 90-day graduation, they renewed their vows beautifully on a beach before COVID, and they're just about to celebrate their 1-year anniversary since renewing their vows. But the best part of this story is they're in love like teenagers now, and they make more love than most of the young couples that I know. Their friends say they're so happy it almost grosses them out. And here's the best part, their children were involved in the healing and repair of their marriage. Every family member had the chance to share how painful this was, what had happened with their dad, and to heal as a family. And they've given their family a second chance. So I love them for their generosity. They allow me to share their story. I love them for the work they did and the bravery and the courage that it took on her part to forgive and on his part to do the work and make amends. So through them, we must believe if it is in a couple's best interest to stay together, it's possible to make it wonderful again. They are happier now than they ever were before the affair.
That's how it sounds. And considering that, just as you said, they are married for over 30 years and now they're having finally physical contact, probably they don't have to worry about, being pregnant again. So that
Very
can contribute to that as well. Okay,
true.
fun aside, you did an amazing job, and this is a very, very powerful story. So I'm glad that you shared it. You also mentioned something that I really want to bring in. You said, they renewed their vows before COVID, and because you brought up COVID, I'd really like to ride that wave, if you don't mind, for a moment, because COVID is bringing so much tension into everybody's life. And, it's obviously draining couples and relationships in general. So do you have any tips and tricks for our audience in terms of, what they can do to relieve some of that tension and, perhaps channel differently?
Absolutely. And we're going to use the cup for inspiration. The cup says, love is the answer. And on the other side, it says, life is good. So, love is the answer. It takes one person before it takes two. Meaning, in a relationship, we must each maintain our state of whole, well, complete, and joyful before we can expect that the relationship will be wonderful and joyful. So, during COVID, my best suggestions for couples is to first find out when in the week you're going to practice your individual self-care and self-love. You will simply be a better partner if you're taking care of your own needs. This might look like creating some time boundaries or physical boundaries in the home, especially if everyone's at home. You might be a couple that has small children that are doing school remotely from home. You might have previously been working people where at least one person left the house, and now everyone sees everyone all day long. So figure out where those little spaces are in the home that can be just for you at a particular time. Whether it means you get the living room for your yoga mat and quiet music and no television from 11 to 12 or from 9 to 10 at night, carve out what you need. And the second tip, Annie, would be make sure that you are connecting with your partner. Just because you see each other all day long, if that's the case at the moment, that doesn't mean any of it is quality time. Yes, proximity closeness can be a good thing or a frustrating thing, but it's important to have quality time that feels like a date. Can I share a quick statistic about dating your partner?
That would be awesome. Go ahead, girl.
My friends, did you know that couples who date at least once a week are 3.5 times happier? That's 350% better in your relationship satisfaction. And a date does not have to look like getting dressed up fancy, going to an expensive restaurant, and going out on the town, especially if you live in a town where you can't do any of those things right now. But here's what a date does have. It starts with an intention to be your best self and cause the best connection that you can. It starts with showering and doing your personal grooming in case this date should lead to intimacy if you're at that place with your partner. It stops with technology, and it means giving your partner your proper body position, eyes, shoulders, hips, heart. We do our best connecting when we're actually facing our partner. And dates can be simple, they can be indoors, but they usually don't involve wearing boxers with all the holes in them and putting on Netflix, having a bunch of chores to do. They involve really focusing in on your partner and having conversations that connect, closeness that connects, and activities that connect.
I love it. And you know what? The picture that you painted was quite comical. I love it. Now there's something else because you are always an award-winning and best-selling author. And I know for a fact that your fourth book, Happy Love just came out, and I can see it actually in the back as well. That's it. So why don't you share some information regarding that and tell us about the book? Because obviously, the tips and tricks that you shared are great. But obviously, if you already have a manual, then why wouldn't people just, dive in and get that manual and really learn and make it their own?
Well, thank you, Annie. And it certainly takes one great author to know another. I'm very excited for you about your book launch that's happening. And I can't wait to see that and support you and have the women in my life follow your success story. I think we all write for different reasons. And the reason that I wrote Happy Love last year, I was having some neurological health issues. I was actually losing my words, both in speech, in writing, my ability to spell. And I got very scared that the unique processes that I've created, which work very fast, just 90 days to restore a marriage, I got very scared that if I couldn't work anymore, I couldn't help people anymore. So while I was unwell, I wrote everything, all of the techniques I use with my private clients, all of the techniques I teach in workshops, all of the steps, the processes, the worksheets, the tools, and I documented it thinking that might be my last chance to do that. The good news, my friends, my brain is well and my health is all cleared. But now you get everything in the book. So Happy Love, 5 essential steps to help frustrated couples fall in love again. This book is best to be read by a couple who wants to be happy together. You could be in a good place right now and read the book just because it's personal growth and learn how to keep it this way. You could read the book because you're engaged and you want to learn the best practices to be a great partner. But many couples will be reading the book because they're in pain, they're in struggle, and they're in disconnect, especially if there's been trauma in your relationship, such as infidelity, illness, depression. This book will give you the step-by-step, the 5-step ideal love method, and the 6 secrets of happy couples and how to become one. It'll give you access to all the exercises you can do once a week to restore your marriage and or relationship. And I'm excited that the world can have this because my husband and I use it as our own relationship manual. Just because I teach this stuff doesn't mean I'm immune to the same challenges, the same COVID realities, the same kids sleeping in our bed, tired people, frayed tempers. I bleed when you prick my finger, just like everyone else. So we use these techniques. And in fact, my husband Jeremy and I, we use these methods. And once a month, we check in on all 16 parts of our own marriage so we can see where are we off course, what do we need to focus on, and what can we do to stay happy together.
That's awesome. So because this is the second time you're mentioning the 16 parts that couples should be looking at for their relationship and for their marriage, do you mind sharing at least some of them so that we get a little bit of a sneak peek?
Absolutely, my dear. Here they are. The 16 parts are appreciation, respect, Trust, read it to you right out of the book. Forgiveness and peace, or in other words, how well you create closure from your past struggles as a couple. Resiliency, which means how well do you weather storms together. Love and kindness, which are things that make you go, aw, or feel cared for. They are different from intimacy and romance. And intimacy and romance is a separate category from sex. I have counseled many couples who have sex and no intimacy. I have counseled countless couples who have a deep, intimate connection, but for physical health reasons aren't able to have sex. So they are two separate categories. Then we have communication, and inside of this, boy, it's a big category. Your ability to communicate, express, negotiate, apologize, connect, make requests. There are many aspects in communication. We have fun and adventure, which is a highly underrated category. Finances, which of course you must speak to the financial doctor, the beautiful Miss Annie here, because couples have to decide early on whether they are going to be joint, separate, or hybrid, and they'll need to keep revisiting that decision whenever they go through a life change or transition, such as getting married, having a baby, dealing with illness of self, children, or aging parents, or, a pandemic. We then have parenting and family values, the health of your spouse, the attraction to your spouse, and finally, a big one, the division of labor. I can't tell you how many couples spend not just moments every week, how many times a day they fight or get resentful or upset about the division of labor in their marriage. So the real magic, Annie, is for a couple to look at all 16 parts of their marriage and consider, or their relationship, how is it today? How would you rather it be? And then we launch into what can you do about that? What can you do to get yourself closer to the ideal?
I love it. And you know what? It's a very comprehensive list, and it's very impressive that you really, thought of the individual components, and that you also, explained it on this call. That's very, very kind of you. And I'm glad actually that you recognize that actually finances are just as much of, bearing of importance than communication, because quite frankly, I'm actually seeing that many, many people and many, relationships are dissolving because of the financial stress. But at the same time, you're absolutely right. Without communication, it's not going to work either. So it's a very, very holistic approach that you are obviously, showcasing to us, which is great. Now, you really, really love supporting people. I know that because I know you for quite some time, and I experienced you in terms of, seeing you on stages speaking, then other people give testimonials about you and so on. So, you have established yourself quite a bit in the industry, including that you have been featured in multiple media before. But because you support people so much, why don't you share us in terms of, if someone is interested to get in touch with you and find out more, how can they really benefit from your program? And do you have any free gifts for people who listen today?
All right. Annie, can you see my screen okay?
Absolutely.
All right, sweetheart. So I have 3 gifts for your audience. And the first one is, let's just go back a slide here. I would love to gift your audience with any chapter they choose. They can pick their favorite one for free. There are 18 chapters in the book. They're all listed on the website. You can go to theliftedlid.com. Think of being stuck in a box and wanting to lift the lid. Please go to theliftedlid.com. You can scroll down to the book section and choose any chapter that will help you the most in your relationship right now. You can text that over to me and it would be my pleasure. I will give Annie permission to share my details. It will be my pleasure to provide my phone number for you. The next free gift is, let's just go down here. The next free gift is a tool to support you while you're working with your partner. And you can choose the tool for how to give the world's best apology, or you can choose the tool for how to have the most meaningful heart-to-heart conversation. So feel free to text me whether you want the apologizing tool or the connecting tool. And lastly, the best gift of all, Annie, this one really is my heart. I love to do a complimentary session for you and your partner, or if you are single, for you, because you deserve it. This is not a sales meeting. It is a real and true free session to help you go from where you are and get you closer to where you want to go. I will send you some questions that you'll send back to me the answers in advance, and I'll start working on some action plans and tools. So when we get on this call, you're going to want to have your notebook ready. I will record it and send it to you, because we're going to go super fast, give you as many tools as possible in our 30 minutes together. And the most important message, Annie, that I have for your audience is coming up on this last slide here. And that is simply that I am here for you. If there is absolutely anything I can do to help you get out of pain and closer to joy, either as an individual or inside of your couple relationship, I know firsthand what it's like to feel like you are in the dark, it is hopeless, and you lack for solutions. I also know what it's like to find the light, find the steps, and get into a better place, and it doesn't have to take long. So Annie, I'm going to stop the share and go back to you, my dear.
Awesome. This was pretty amazing, actually, and I love. I specifically like the look with the black outfits.
Oh, thank
Awesome.
you. Well, I want to tell your
Very
audience
nice.
something about you. Annie, what I love so much about you, and one of the reasons why we get along so much, is we both bring our heart into the work that we do. You and I don't just rely on the wisdom of what works, whether it's to transform a client's financial situation or happiness or relationship. We genuinely care. And I will never forget when I first met you years ago, the very first client that I referred to you. I will never forget the countless hours you spent supporting someone that you knew couldn't afford to be an actual client at that time. And if that doesn't scream integrity, I don't know what does. Your heart and mine are twins in this way. We give the complimentary sessions because we really want to give somebody's life a lift. You teach a woman about money so she can be empowered, even if you know full well she has no investable assets at that time. But you hope that in the future, with that great advice, she will rebuild herself and one day be able to be that right kind of client. But you do it anyways. And that's where you and I are sisters. It's such a pleasure to give people relief that they deserve. Whether or not they're going to become clients is irrelevant. We can still give them the lift. And I respect you so much. I remember all the love and care that you put out for people I sent to you. And that's part of why you do these interviews, is you want your clients to have access to not just how to make their money grow, but how to make their life grow. And I feel very humbled that you allowed me to be on here with you today. Thank you so much.
You are so sweet. Like, it's just unbelievable. Like, thank you so much for this testimony, and I really appreciate it. But Haley, what you are doing also for people is essential and is important because, and that's where the sisterhood comes in with all the people that, we are working together and helping our clients or our connections to actually get better in all aspects of their lives. So, and you definitely contribute to it, my friend, and you are amazing in how you're bringing love and happiness and everything else to people's lives, and that's amazing. And you know what, today you even shared with the audience many of these freebies that you were offering, and that just again just really shows that you are there to support, just like the last slide said. So good for
Not
you.
everyone's going to be your client or my client, but everyone who seeks it for themselves deserves to have some good action steps that they can take to better themselves, better their finances, better their relationships. And you never know at what point someone will be ready to receive action steps. And so we offer them. We offer them out of love. And in proof of sisterhood, we're flashing the beautiful jewelry. We're both wearing our friends' designs today. And what better way than to spread love than do it together? And my life mission is to decrease the depression and divorce rates and increase the amount of happiness and love. What's your mission? Why do you do your business?
That's an interesting question. Usually I'm asked the question, so thank you for bringing it back to me. Honestly, it's empowerment just to make sure that people are actually become knowledgeable about their options and how they can create whatever is their vision and mission to really become a tangible reality. Most of the time, finances are not taught in school. In fact, it's a very taboo theme, specifically amongst women. So, if people can actually have their own financial literacy session and really learn about their options so that they can make educated choices, that's already an empowerment. And then going forward, if they choose to work with me, then obviously from then on, they never look back because, their situation is just really, truly improving. Where also, people like you come in who are helping with, building up the relationship or whatever it might be, some health related people who can help improve their health and so on and so on. So, we all work hand in hand to really help with a holistic approach for the
And
people
we all
who
do
speak to us. Yeah.
some wild and wonderful things beyond our professions. So I'll never forget sitting down with you, both for myself and in sending clients to you. You are the first financial doctor who not only looks at where should a client put their money, their savings, their investments, or their insurance. You're also talking about how they can add more income to their life. You're looking at what is their intellectual property, how can they build up multiple income streams, how can they build passive or residual income into their life. And you care so much, not just to deal with the assets on hand, but to help a person expand what they generate. It's such a beautiful thing. I love working with you. I feel like we need some workshops in the future around love and money.
I think that's a deal, my love. I love it. Now, why don't you tell our audience, Haley, how they can get hold of you? Because you have so much to offer. If they want to find out, more about your books, where can they buy them? But also, if they want to book the free sessions with you, or they are really interested to start a true couple therapy, you know, tell us, please, what's your best availability?
Thank you, love. The way to find all the information is on my website, theliftedlid.com. You'll remember that if you feel stuck. We all want to lift the lid. So please go to theliftedlid.com. And the best way to reach me personally is actually to send me a private text message. I personally respond, not my assistant. I personally respond to all those messages. And I give you permission, Annie, to post up the text with our video. But my mobile number is 416-797-5856. If you are in need of support for yourself or in your relationship, send me a confidential text and I will write you back with some available times so that we can book you in for your free 30-minute session. And if you know that you need support and you're ready to get started, let's get you started so that in 90 days you can look forward to graduating and you won't need me anymore, and we'll celebrate your progress.
I love it, Haley. Thank you so much, my friend. Appreciate
Thank
you.
you, darling. Love you. Have a beautiful day.
You too. Bye.